board.
You want me,
Absolute, absolute. Sorry. You carry on.
do you want me to start out with his baby stories?
Oh well, yeah, that would be good fun. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he must have been a big baby anyway, because he was all right mumping, moaning, what's it at times as he got older. But anyway, I should really just introduce you first. This is Rich, the dude's auntie, as I was saying to you before. I struggle with calling him either Richard, which was something I trained myself not to do in any of the chats because he didn't want anybody to even know what his first name was. He didn't want any of that to be or even where he was in America. He was very protective about his name, where he was. So it's just something you condition yourself to. So I never. Maybe in very early videos I call him Erekose, but most of the time it was dude because of the Big Lebowski. We just had so much fun with that. And then, my goodness, the fun we have with the Captain Crunch. And then we were presented with the Captain Crunch that's just behind you, isn't he? He's still there. Look at that. prime place there. Oh my goodness, the fun we had with that. But yeah, if you could, sorry, is it so auntie, but so you're the sister to either his mum or dad, yeah?
his mom.
His mum, yeah. So yeah, if you can tell us a little bit about, I'll use the official term, Erekose.
Well, you guys know him better than I do.
Wow.
I know Richard. He drove me crazy with his videos. I didn't. I always felt so bad. I've watched a few videos since he's passed, but he would always send me his videos, and he would say, "Did you watch? Did you watch?" And I would say, "I watched a little bit," and he would say, "Oh, okay." But he would always tell me everything that was going on, and so I can put sort of the pieces. So I know, like this weekend, he would have been crazy with the whole Zellner thing and
Yeah.
all that stuff that came out. He would be talking our ear off. More Greg than me because I would kind of disappear. It's because I don't know. It just frustrates me. This stuff frustrates me so bad. Like, because
Yeah.
I can't believe that this is happening. But that was, Richard just came alive once he found his passion for making a murder.
Yeah.
And that was the most awesome thing to see him bloom and do something. He really wanted to make a career of this.
Yep.
And then to see all the people follow in his footsteps were amazing to me because I had no idea, that all you guys came on board with him and he got all of you guys to, get out there and get your own channels. And so that's amazing to me. And he loved it. He was so proud of it. And I listened to hours of it, but you know,
You, you know, I mean, I hope I'm not sort of giving out too much information, but basically, he built the studio in the back garden
yes.
because of his contacts within the building trade, because that's what he did. He during as a daytime job, he went out and put in home automatics
Yes.
what was his
It was,
official title?
I don't know what the official title was, but what he
Yeah.
did, he customized the homes so that everything would work off a remote control.
Hmm.
So he could fix their blinds where their blinds went up and down, the music came on, lights went down, different lights came on. Just very. He has a stereo system.
Yeah.
I don't know how to work it, Paul.
I remember me and the Hod and Stacy and the dude. We went to the Hod's his son's house in Melbourne, and and the Hod wanted to play for us on the TV a bit of Carl Barron, and he knew exactly how to get it via the phone. His phone, he could send it to the TV, and the dude was like straight there, straight in there, in with the wires, fixed it all up, and that was it done. And just watched Carl Barron for for a few minutes. It was amazing to watch. He was uh, uh, very technically minded, and also he helped me a lot. He once even did a video on how to do a video. Well, actually, he did that more than once. A video on how to do a video, just explaining, how you actually do it. And it was great. He was uh, just I remember you mentioned the word that he was quite humble as a kid, and certainly that, as you got to know him more, that was certainly the case. But yes, I must ask this one question. I mean, how many times did he go through with family members over this control question? This business about, Brendan, did you see a tattoo? We know she had a tattoo. Did you see it? No. You disagree with me? No. I mean, did he go through that a few times with you?
Everybody would get frustrated with him because we would be having like a barbecue and all the family would be here, nieces, nephews, everybody. And all Richard wanted to talk about was the case,
Yeah.
and what was going on. And so sometimes people got their feelings hurt because the case was more important than what we had to say. So, but it was great because it was his passion. And the day he brought home the boxes, I don't know where, because I told him a couple places he could go get these shirts made.
Yeah.
But the day he came in with the boxes, oh, he was so excited with these shirts. He's like, look, and I look at the shirt and I'm like, it's not even pretty because I don't understand. And he's like, no, it's a control question. And I'm like, okay, are people going to buy those shirts from you?
Oh, yes, they are.
No.
Oh dear. I mean, I must tell you that the lead up to, I mean, it was myself and Mark that got together and decided that, the dude needed some merchandise for the channel, but it needed to be of benefit not only to, well, so that he could sell the stuff and not be out of pocket, but also to help raise money. So all the profit went to Brendan. And I remember when we got together, me and Mark, about it. I mean, in fact, I should back up. A lot of people say about the fact that I'm the sort of organizer of this nonsense. Every so often, I get a message from Mark. Could we have a chat in the morning? It's like being called to the headmaster's office. It feels like that, honestly. But no, it was Mark that came up with the ask me about the control question and the whole design of it. And we wound up the dude for a couple of days about the t-shirts because I had them made and then I was going to show them in a video so that he could see what they were, because he'd already said, if I like them, I'll just get a whole load more made and carry on, because we said it's a t-shirt specifically about you, it mentions you. But of course he was concerned that it was going to be something daft about Captain Crunch. He didn't realize it was going to be something as serious as the control question, which was bizarrely, it was mentioned by Tom Fassbender in a TV interview. So they're even able to twist it, as if they're trying to present to a TV audience that this is a genuine fact. His will was not overborn, and this is the control question that proves that his will wasn't overborn. When in fact the whole conversation proves the exact opposite. So as I say, he was really concerned that it was going to be about Captain Crunch. And then when he eventually realized what it was, because I'd kept him waiting cruelly for like 3 videos before he finally got to see what the t-shirt was, he was gobsmacked. He thought that was absolutely fantastic. So I've just yesterday I've ordered up a new ask me about the control question, copyright Erekose 2021, so that the legacy lives on. But I mean that having a t-shirt pales into insignificance compared with the Advocacy Foundation. You actually sent me a video of some of the goodies that people get, and it looked fantastic. But again, chatting with 1 or 2 other people that are hopefully going to be applying for it, the other thing that they said was probably even more important was the fact that because we've built this community, that they will get help and guidance, or almost like a mentorship, so if they ever need any help with things, they can come to any of the other people that have been involved in doing the YouTubing, shall we say, a lot longer, and they will get that assistance. It's just great what he's sort of built up. I mean, I mean, how long did it take him to build that studio that you're in now? I mean, I remember him sending me photographs of it when he just finished it and he was just getting it plastered.
Yeah, but the greatest part was when he got this bright idea that he was going to get a studio. We're like, okay, well, we had this plum tree that Greg and I had planted that we got for our wedding, and then I said, well, you can't put it there because of the plum tree, and you just see his whole little face, just like, oh, this tree is interfering with my life. So I said, so we're gonna, and then Greg's like, oh no, we'll just dig it up, and I was concerned because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should find the pictures. There was four of them, and they dug up this tree, and it took them 3 days to dig all around this plum tree, and then put in a big sack. And anyway,
Yeah.
so once that was done, then he was gun ho, and we started pouring the foundation, and then everything else just came together, and it was awesome. He was just so excited because Greg's stepson is the one that they put insulation in, and then
Yeah.
did all the stucco of the walls. Well, I think Rich had to wait a month for that, and
Yeah.
that was a month that just killed this kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And prior to that, I can see there's like some sort of metal blinds type things to your right.
that's the screen that he used to use.
Yes.
The shop. That's the screen.
So where was his studio before then? Was it in the house?
Yes, in my den, and we made too much noise for him. And the dogs and the cats, and yes, so finally it was, and then he also used the studio where he worked,
Right.
and so he would carry this thing back and forth with him. Actually, I don't care for it, actually.
I think it looks pretty cool. But do you know what was funny was the fact that eventually he got to embrace the fact that there were all these sounds about him, and I've seen it myself, whereby if there's been somebody that's come to the door and I've had to stop the recording, and you're cursing. But I've actually come to embrace that and think, well, no, this is just normal life. You can just say to your listeners, oh, I must just go answer the door. It's such and such, and then carry on. And what was really brilliant was that Stacy Seabrook did that song where he talks about get on board the train, the truth train. And every so often, as he was doing the video, you'd hear a train go past. And it was just absolutely superb. As I say, he learned to embrace the sounds about him, and the dogs outside. That was brilliant. It was just it's just fantastic. It just brings a whole new sort of ambiance to the whole effect of what you don't want it to be in a stale, like a studio. Sometimes it's that sort of you know you're getting to know a little bit more about him, or it might just be that the sights and sounds about him, but it was absolutely brilliant. The number of times that when the train goes past, people used to say, oh, that's the truth train. And as I say, he embraced it himself. I, I remember flying to Australia in trepidation of meeting the fella, and wondering what's he going to be like in real life, and I must say that we had an absolute blast in Australia, because for the not for the first 2 nights, the first night that we were there, we were at Mark's house, and then the next 2 nights we were down in Sydney at this Palisade, and we absolutely we shared like the lower flat. He was like one side, I was in the other, a living room kitchen, and I remember him setting up and doing a live in the kitchen of the flat, and that was about 11 o'clock, so the bar had just opened. So excuse me, I was sent on. I went on regular errands to go and get a couple of beers to bring back so he could keep going. I remember one night when he decided to crack open a couple of bottles of Stella. I got the impression the dude didn't drink very much.
He didn't.
No, no, he was a bit lightweight in that respect. I think two beers and that was him ready to start singing.
Yeah, probably.
Did you ever see that video of him when he sang "God Save the Queen"?
Yes, it was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was horrendous, and I knew he did that on purpose. I knew his singing wasn't that bad.
Oh, that was so funny.
It was hilarious.
It was funny because I've seen so many of his videos since all this happened, and
Yeah,
then man, I was so amazed at how alive he was. How passionate he was. He was like that as a kid, but he was just not. He was very shy. Very reserved. I shouldn't say shy,
Mhm.
but he was very reserved as a kid, and even like when he was doing sports and all that. Like he would win a match and he would walk away. He'd smirk to himself because he knew he's proud of himself, but he never boasted. He
Yeah,
never just didn't do it.
yeah,
And oh man, it's just amazing. So I
yeah,
love to watch his videos, but the content still is above me.
yeah. Well, it, I think what's interesting there though, as you say, was that he, although he was getting the approval from the community, he still wanted that little bit of family approval, of what he was doing, and I know he valued that very much. But I must admit, for the first few months, look, I was, 55, 56-year-old bloke, seeing it all, done it, got the t-shirt, and I must admit, I did shed a few tears on a few occasions, just looking out the window, thinking about where my big pal had gone, and it still hurts tremendously that we've lost him. But hopefully we will, I would hope that rather than being sad about the fact that he's gone, it's like applauds, and congratulations for what he did, because I think you were taken aback by what he'd managed to do in just, well, basically 4 years of, you know since watching MAM to then do what he did, and to see his channel grow, just amazing. But yeah, I always thought that Americans were loud and brash and crass and all that kind of stuff. But he, did I say he had a certain sort of conservatism to himself?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if you can tell us much about mum and dad, but can you see parts of where he inherited
Mhm.
how he was from?
A lot of the way he viewed life was from his dad, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike was just a real straight shooter. Didn't like when he spoke, you listened to him. He didn't, and he really taught the boys to be passionate about people. No
Yep.
prejudice, no any of that. And he really did a good job. And both kids just grew up, being very respectful and very, very loving kids.
Yep.
Now my small nephew,
Yeah.
my his brother. Now Ty will always say that because they're both different. Ty's really like, just very. You just know Ty's in the room,
Yeah.
or you may not know Richard's in the room because he's very subdued. But Ty always says, "Well, I'm an asshole, Aunt Sherry. I'm an asshole." And so sometimes Ty is an asshole, but he's the sweetest asshole you're ever going to meet. My sister was very, very passionate. She kept everything in line. Me and her used to fight like cats and dogs.
Yeah.
Just because she looked at it one way and I looked at it another, and we're both very, very strong-willed. And I don't know if you've noticed, but Richard's very strong-willed. So, Yeah, I can. Yes, I can. But I
Yeah.
don't know how to convey that to you.
He did talk certainly to myself a little bit about his dad. Could have been a an English teacher.
Mike,
Was
yes.
very much into English, but was also involved. I think, if I got this right, he was a Vietnam veteran that was also involved in the postal service.
Yeah, he worked there. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. You know, so yeah, I mean, like I was, I always used to refer to him as my wee brother, because to me, if you like somebody that much, you want him to be part of your family, and I've got two sisters, two younger sisters. I don't have a brother, but for me, he was very much that sort of, he was my wee brother. I'd stick up for him, and he would stick up for me, and it was. Even though we used to have some fantastic friendly arguments, and we would abuse each other in the worst possible ways, but with our language, but it was always in total jest. It was funny. He was it was good fun.
He would come outside when he was done talking to you, and he'd be saying, my friend Paul, blah 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 blah," and he would talk about the Captain Crunch, and I didn't get quite where they were going with the Captain Crunch. But I just said okay, and then he said he voted, and he said you cheated. Um, and let's see what else. There was so many times, and I'm telling you, he would come out of the studio and he would just be alive, and so excited to talk about it. I wish I could look back on how, I mean, I can look back, but I wish I could show you, how he would just come out
Yeah.
and he would pace. If Greg and I are sitting at the table, having our little discussion, Richard would just pace back and forth in front of our gate until we were done talking. And as soon as we were done talking, because sometimes we would just talk just to watch it, but as soon as we were done, he'd come right through that gate and he would just be like, "This is going on, this is going on." And oh, my dogs are going crazy. And he was all excited. So that's what I mean. He would tell us all these different things. I didn't put everything together until after I actually sat down to watch the videos and see everything that was going on. So
Yeah, I
it,
mean, as I say, that it did strike me that that there, as I say, that maybe conservative is too political a word, but there was this this, well, let's use the word conservatism about him, that he, passionate though he was, I was always amazed how he dealt with the, excuse me for want of a better word, the guilt and the hater community, because he really didn't retaliate back at them very much. He would sometimes put up quotes that they've come up with, and then explain why he didn't agree. But um, bizarrely, it's looking at his videos. It's not like he's trying to indoctrinate people. He's not trying to hammer at them, he's just trying to explain it in his own inimitable style, his thoughts on the case, and I think that comes across really well, that he's just trying to present what his findings are. So he wasn't this sort of, I don't know, like sort of, in your face, telling you what to do. That was just a nice style about it that we always appreciated. But yeah, his desire to do a live from any situation he was at, the phone would be out and he'd be pacing outside the rally house. I mean, did he tell you much about the rally house at Manitrock that we had?
I no, I think he just
No,
said he had a really good time, and no, I don't remember much about that.
because there's footage of us partying till 4:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
There,
Well,
there is footage of that, and the pair of us are, well, I'm getting well stuck into the drink. I don't know that the dude was getting that that inebriated. He was gobsmacked that I was actually up before him the next morning. Yeah, he couldn't fathom that one out at all. The fact that I was splitting headache and as rough as hell, but I wasn't going to show it. Not in front of the dude. I wasn't going to show any weakness.
Because he would have attacked it. He would have attacked it.
Yeah,
He he just loved that about you. I mean, that was the one thing that he loved. That, oh, my buddy Paul did this, or Paul did this, or Paul did that, and he would laugh. He was so excited about all of that. I mean, it really. Richard was like a gentle giant. He
yeah,
was this big guy, and he always looked mad at the world, but he had the sweetest heart of anybody. There's
yeah,
nothing he wouldn't do for you, nothing you wouldn't do for me,
yeah.
and oh, I don't know. I
Well,
miss that.
I think it shows it by the fact that they went to so much trouble to replant, as you say, the plum tree, which is what just replanted somewhere else in the garden,
Right.
and it's probably in a better place for it.
It is. It actually bloomed last year, and it had
Wow.
never bloomed before. And so that was fun because when it bloomed, and that we waited for the plums, and Richard and I were both excited, and we both got to have a plum, and they were super good. And
Yeah.
I used to drag Rich all around my yard when the flowers would bloom, the orchids or whatever the things I have. And he would say, "Yep, yep," and he didn't even care, but he would walk around the yard with me, and he would say, "Oh, that's really pretty." So, but that's how he was. He was just gentle. It, yeah. If I would
Yeah.
make something, I would say, "Look, Rich." He's like, "Oh, that's really cool." He probably still didn't care, but I didn't know he didn't care because he just seemed so passionate about it.
Yeah, believe it or not, I checked out his very first video wasn't actually a American a Murder one. It was about going to, I think, where Steve Hunter and the rest of them did the motorbikes around,
Oh yes.
out in the desert, basically, and he I remember him once sending me footage of the van that he was kitting out for Steve Hunter and other stuff like that, and yeah, it was great to see the you know what else did he show, like a video about him putting up new gates that couldn't be stolen, because I think Steve Hunter had his metal gates stolen at one time, because it was so easy just to lift them off, and he had to go and fix them up so that they couldn't be stolen the next time.
With the
Gee
sea.
whiz.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
he was smart. He was, man, he was smart.
Yes. As I say, he used to do videos for me on how to do certain stuff, and as I say, I saw firsthand at Mark's place when he delved into the wires and got everything hooked up so that it all worked as Mark wanted it to work. Listen, I'm not going to keep you much longer because I think you're working this evening, are you?
Yeah. Well, I work out of the studio now.
Right.
So, and it was funny because I went to Rich and I said, "Rich, they want me to do this stuff online. I don't want to do it." He's like, "Sherry, it's easy." He goes, "Once you get used to it,
Yeah.
you're going to love it." And he's right. So now I do like two groups a day out of Richard's studio.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun. I don't have to drive to work. I just have to walk to work. So,
Perfect, perfect. And the dog's doing well. That was the other thing he liked, was a couple of the houses he went to, he met certain dogs. I remember him talking about Bluey.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
No.
he absolutely loved.
Oh no, that was yes. I think that was Steve's wife's dog.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, that's what I'm. Richard was like that with babies. He was like that with animals. That is just really when you see a picture of Rich with a dog, he was like that with any animal.
yeah.
So, did I ever tell you about the story about my cat Blue?
Oh, it was the cat was called Bluey.
Yeah, and it
Right.
got in my car, and he came home from work and he brought the cat home.
Wow.
So I guess he was just there right after it happened, and
Yeah.
so here he comes, bringing the cat. He was all freaked out. I wasn't home. Thank God I wasn't home. And I mean, that's just how passionate Rich was. And I told him later, I said, "Thanks for bringing Blue home." And he said, "Of course." And then
Yeah.
one time our dog had a seizure and Richard was there, and he came over, he was throwing water over, trying to cool the dog down. I mean, that is Richard. That's how
Mm,
passionate. That is just a true passionate man.
mm,
So,
yeah.
so what you saw, if you ever got to see that passion, that it was something because he didn't go around. You know, not everybody knows how passionate that kid was.
No, as you say, he had that sort of quietness about him at times, which you know. Although I have to say that unfortunately, all the time he was with me, he was big and loud, and 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 I remember in Australia, it was brilliant because that was the few times when I did actually refer to him as Erekose, because we would chat to people, for example, in the Palisade, the hotel that was at the corner, the bar we were in, and I remember, I think I'd got we some of us had maybe got the Brendan Dassey t-shirts, Control Question t-shirts, and just chatting with locals in the pub, and that's when I did manage to introduce him as Erekose. He's the leading YouTuber of the Making a Murder case, and then introduce him, and he would go and chat to them for 15, 20, 30 minutes talking about the case, and you could tell he enjoyed that sort of stuff. But
He loved it.
I think probably that without doubt the highlight was the in Melbourne when Tracy Keogh was able to give him a backstage pass so that he met Steve Drizzen, Laura Nyrider, and David Rudolph. And I've said this many times. He was telling me that he was speaking to David Rudolph. I mean, I've spoken to David Rudolph, really nice fella. You'd love speaking to him. But then he turned, and it was his chance to speak to Steve Drizzen, and Steve Drizzen said, "You're Erekose." It was like who's the more famous of these two? Oh, you must be Erekose.
Oh, that's
you know it was and then Steve Drizzen put the t-shirt on and had the photograph taken with it on. It was absolutely priceless. I mean, many thanks to Tracy Q for doing that. But I mean, just everybody loved the dude. He was just brilliant fun. And what I've done the last few days is I've actually been showing some of my favorite videos that he did.
oh
some,
nice. So
some of them some of them are from very early on, excuse me, and some of them are far more recent. That there's from when he used to do in the house.
yes,
behind the screen, sorry, in front of the screen, with the screen behind him, obviously not behind the screen. No, he wasn't that shy. um
no, he was not.
Finally, could you possibly show us that beautiful picture behind you of the Richard McAdam Advocacy Foundation?
Will it be backwards or will you be able to see?
Oh no, that's absolutely perfect. Look at that. That's
So,
brilliant. Yeah, framed and everything. That's
it,
that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much.
yeah, so we're ready to find someone to get on the what are we going to call that? Like to get
Uh,
the
on
scholarship.
well, I suppose it's like, yeah, on the scholarship, isn't it? It's I mean, hmm, it's it's something that we talked about to great length. Really, was first of all, what we did was we tried to encourage. I said, you've got me coming on doing chats with you. Wouldn't it be great if we got a much wider perspective of more people that came on? Um, and and it's interesting, isn't it? The sort of the gender differences. It was quite easy to get Mark, and obviously Stacey's already out there. So for the blokes to sort of, I don't know, sort of congregate together, as it were. But I mean, we've got obviously some absolutely superb ladies out there doing all this stuff. This case, it transcends gender, political persuasion, ethnicity, race. It's just far bigger than that, and just everybody comes together, under under the banner of well, keep talking till they're walking, which was he
That.
the
Keep talking.
second trip to Manitrock, we had that message from Jerry Buting that was absolutely superb, and the dude kept quoting that to anybody that would listen, that the fact that they're like vampires hiding in the shadows. They don't want the light shone on them. We're shining a light on them, and they don't like it. And so we're going to keep shining that light on their wrongdoing. And certainly at the moment, the case is just it's just, well, I would say that as far as the case is concerned, it's already steamrolling out of control as far as the state of Wisconsin are concerned. I just don't see how they can sort of defend themselves. They're just going to have to put out the white flag and say, look, you've caught us out. This has been one big horrible lie. And this, the corruption is just, it's just falling apart. It's what happens. It's was it Sir Walter Scott?
That's the thing. I mean, even me, when we started watching Making a Murder.
Yeah,
You can see how just doesn't make sense, you
yeah,
know, and that they just keep these people in prison. They coerce Brendan. I was
yeah,
calling,
yeah.
but the whole thing is just so frustrating when I see it. I'm just like, yo, our government. I get crazy.
Yeah, it's it would be wrong of us in this community to suggest that the whole world is corrupt, and and this is the norm. It's not. Luckily, the the Stephen Averys and the Brendan Dasses in the world are sort of very much in the minority, but it's still not acceptable. As somebody said to me, if you were if you were an airline pilot, or running an airline firm, and 1% of your airline pilots were going to crash the plane, you wouldn't get on any of the planes, would you? For fear that one pilot is the one that's going to crash the plane. It's just something we cannot live with, is corruption and wrongful convictions. And there has to be a better way of getting to the truth in things. But yes, and unfortunately, in Steve and Brendan's case, it all stems from that original 1985 wrongful conviction, where they 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 just didn't like Steve, and they just wanted to teach him a lesson. And had it not been for Making a Murderer, you know, nobody would have really, outside of Wisconsin, would have ever heard of Stephen Avery. You know, not many people outside of Wisconsin have even heard of Manitrock, other than the fact that I think they manufacture cranes, and something to do with refrigeration, if I remember rightly. But it's not it wasn't a household name. Making a Murderer made it a household name. And we're just going to continue following and seeing how Zellner well,
Proceeds.
you know, destroys the state's case against Stephen Brendan.
That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
Well, I watched what I watched the other day. Somebody was reading the court's response.
right. Yep.
And it was just, I couldn't believe it.
Mhm.
I just, I was just like, oh man, you guys are just crazy.
It's I suppose it must be difficult for these employees, for the employees of the state that are given the task of trying to defend the state, no matter how obvious they are in the wrong. They've still got to, your Lisa Comforts of this world. She's an assistant attorney general. When it came to Brendan's case, Brad Schimmel appointed this guy Luke Berg to talk on behalf of the state. And perfectly well that these guys, they're not stupid. They can see that they're defending something, just from the point of view that they're trying to save the state,
Right.
from any backlash in this. But you end up thinking, are your ethics that low that you actually want to do this? Well, unfortunately, from their point of view, if they don't do it, there might be somebody else that will.
Right.
But yeah, Kathleen Zellner's doing a great job.
Yep. He's lucky to have her. And now, who, who was that? Who got that lawyer? Who was the one that found her?
Oh, right. Sorry. Yes. Sandy Greenman.
Andy. Yes.
Yes.
Man, what?
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing that she did all that. That is
Yeah,
just
Sandy is just absolutely amazing. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of having her on the channel a couple of times to chat to, and regularly chat, through Messenger, but also, of course, met her at the rally, and I mean, she's just lovely.
close. I want to see. Well, I haven't talked to her yet, but I think she should come out here and do a video out of the studio.
Well, she did come to.
Yeah, I met her when she was here.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yes, with the ringleader.
Yes, with Mark.
I mean, I'm just the monkey. The organ grinder is from Australia. It goes by the name of Mark Hoddenot.
Oh man, I can't wait for you guys to come out here. That'll be so fun. Can you imagine coming to the studio and
Yeah,
actually? That'd be awesome.
yeah.
Richard would get a kick out of that too. So
Yes, absolutely. I remember when we did a video once, and it was so funny because it was with a dude, and it was also with or was it Mark and Stacy, and I said something, and it was the one where Mark was actually upstairs. Nobody knew that Mark had come here for the weekend. So we did this video whereby I was able to, say some things about Mark, pretend derogatory, and the next minute he sat next to me.
nice.
and we referred to it as because the dude loved Doctor Who, and it was references to do with traveling in time and all that kind of stuff. I must check that out sometime. That was so funny when when they realised that Mark was actually here. He wasn't actually in Australia, but who knows? I mean, I could be I could be in the other half of the studio next to you, couldn't I?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same. All they did was hang up his ties, but it's all right.
Yeah, that's great.
I got stuff. I
Yeah,
got stuff. I'm gonna do some giveaways. I just haven't got the stuff together to do the giveaways because Rich had a lot of stuff.
yeah,
So like
yeah.
like this. You know what this is? I don't know what this is. It says Phantom Lord of the Dead.
All right.
I have no idea. But and then I tried to put a battery in it because it was brand new, it was still in a box.
Yeah.
So Rich has all these things, and I'm like, I got to put stuff together. And
I remember in Australia he bought that little sort of plastic model of a koala bear in a tree.
yes, I still have it, except for it fell down the other day.
Yeah.
So now it's like in three pieces, Paul.
And I also sent him the cut up bits of a Captain Crunch box.
Yes, I do have that. That's
Yeah,
it.
in an envelope.
And then
Uh,
flags. You sent him some flags.
yeah, yeah,
Oh man, yeah. I have like all like Rich saved every envelope that anybody ever sent him anything.
yeah,
So I have all that stuff in a box.
yeah.
Because, it takes time. It takes time to go through all that stuff and deal with it. But I still have. Oh, this is really cute. Now I don't know who's gonna get here first, you or Mark. But I had given this to Rich. Oh my gosh, find it. It's going to you, Paul. But
Oh, yes. He kept going on about the Scottish vineyards or something, and this is look at that Piper.
so I'm like, yep, that's definitely going to Paul. We have to drain it first.
Oh, is there wine in there? Is there?
Still wine in it. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Oh yes, I'll gladly share the wine with you.
I don't know if it'll be any good. It's probably not, but
Well, it could be really good vintage by now.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
that's. I told Mark that when he gets here, you better bring an empty suitcase.
Yes.
He can just because that stuff. I know that the Scottish heritage is very important to him.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but you got the Scottish guy for the funeral, so I definitely think you should be the keeper of the Scottish wine, dude.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, he was. I must admit that. You know, then having sort of had conversations with me, he definitely enjoyed having chats with Sharon over there in Glasgow, and Sharon was also a huge part of his what fired him up. Stuff about the independence and um, sort of Scottish politics in general, UK politics. He got right into that, which I tended to sort of stay away from because I'm not really much for talking about people's persuasion, but he was passionate about that, and that they used to do this wonderful thing every week where they would look at the funny bits in the newspapers together, and articles and stuff, and yeah, it was just brilliant. And as I say, we just miss him so much, but we're not gonna. Yes, we're going to be we're sad about it this weekend, but we're going to celebrate, the dude rather than, sort of feel sad about it because his legacy is absolutely fantastic. I even had some of the guests, saying that yeah, if it's for this, then yeah, we'll come and do this.
Yes.
So looking forward to this weekend. Hopefully you'll get to tune in, and don't be surprised if one or two people get in touch and say, can you come and join us for a wee while? So yeah,
Well, it's super fun, and I really want this foundation to take off, and I really want to be able to get people that are shy and scared because I'm one of them, but I do it now. Well,
yeah,
for my clients, but
hmm
I would really like to get some new voices out there, and Richard would be so excited because that's what he wanted. He wanted everybody to get out there, and fight for whatever cause they were passionate about, and
yeah,
that's I definitely want to keep that going for him.
yeah.
So, yeah, so let's do it.
Okay, so we're gonna have big smiles, no tears over the weekend. Just gonna celebrate a wonderful life of the dude. Shari, many thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you over the weekend on Sunday. And take care for now.
All right, thank
And
you, Paul.
I'll let you go. Cheers. Thanks very much. Bye for now. Bye bye.